Welcome to A Moment of Zen. Time to sit back and relax as model, actress, mentor, and supermom Zen Sams takes you on a sexy and wild ride, covering the latest in film, fashion, pop culture, cryptocurrency, fintech, cannabis, and entertainment from the millennial mom's perspective. Here's your host, Zen Sams.
Hello, my beautiful tri-state area. Welcome to our 161st episode. It's always a pleasure to spend my time with you on the airwaves. Thank you for listening and interacting with me on social media. It truly does make it all worthwhile. Please make sure to follow me at Zen Sams. That's Zen with an X, not a Z. And also remember that all episodes of A Moment of Zen stream 24/7 on your home TV. You can always find us on our YouTube channel as well. Up next in Discover Your Potential segment, brought to you by The Wellness Way, we're joined by podcaster and host Anna Devere. And today she's joined by Michelle Lucas, a proud Space Camp alumni and former flight controller for the International Space Station. Michelle is an astronaut technical instructor as well as the founder of Higher Orbits. They joined me today to chat about encouraging and uplifting students in STEM, failing forward, and how space truly does inspire. In our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift, we're featuring Dr. Johnny Franco, founder of Austin Plastic Surgeon, clinical faculty at the University of Texas Dell Medical School. He's also the president of the Austin Society of Plastic and Reconstructive Surgeons. He joins me today to talk about liposuction safety, the risks and rewards involved, as well as the benefits of carbon dioxide therapy pre and post procedure. In the Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, today I'm joined in studio right here at iHeart headquarters in Midtown Manhattan by Yung Wylin. Born Isaiah Clarke, he emerged as a rising star at age 25, finding global success with his self-penned hit, Good Energy. I know you've heard it. It's viral and it's everywhere. He joins me to chat about pursuing a music career, his viral hit, his fashion style inspiration, and what life is like in the fast lane. In the FinTech segment brought to you by FinTech TV, His Excellency Dennis Francis, the President of the United Nations 78th General Assembly, joins Vince Molinari to discuss the first ever Sustainability Week. They discuss the factors affecting the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals by developing countries and why reforming the international financial systems could spur sustainability. Stay tuned for Yung Wylin coming up next in the Hydration with Heart segment, bringing us some good energy. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, 100% pure coconut water. Imagine a drink that's nutrient-rich, powerfully refreshing, naturally sweet with no added sugars, not from concentrate, zero additives, low in calories, absolutely no artificial flavors, and is so tasty that it will become your new favorite beverage. Enter Once Upon a Coconut, the absolute best tasting coconut water you will ever try. Available in 4 refreshing flavors: pure, chocolate, pineapple, and sparkling with energy. Do your taste buds a favor and pick up some today at onceuponacoconut.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in the Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut. Today, I'm joined in studio at iHeart headquarters right here in Midtown Manhattan by Yung Wylin, born Isaiah Clarke. He emerged as a rising star at just 25 years old, found global success with his self-penned hit, Good Energy. He originates in Miami. His musical journey blends Afrobeats with influences from hip-hop, R&B, and reggae. Now, beyond music, he's deeply involved in charity work, which I love, supporting organizations like Christina's Academy and Be Strong International. He's known for his eclectic fashion sense. You got to check out his fashion sense. Yung Wylin's positive message also resonates with millions worldwide, inspiring such a movement of, you guessed it, good energy and purposeful living. Today, he joins me to chat about pursuing a music career, his viral hit, his fashion style, the inspiration behind it all, and what life is like in the fast lane. Welcoming now to the show is the amazing Yung Wylin. Hello, superstar.
Hello, Yung Wylin. Thank you for having me.
So excited. Let's jump right in. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's do it. So can you share the journey, because it's been quite the journey, behind the creation of Good Energy. I mean, everyone has heard it. It's gone
Yes.
viral. What inspired you to write such an uplifting and resonating song?
Well, that's a great question. It's a lot of, great things that inspire me to, come up with the concept and the message behind the song, and putting it to the Afro beats with like the perfect mix, between like mellow and upbeat. And, what inspired me was I wanted to make something that expressed like positivity and, a little bit of like spirituality, everything about try to create some kind of like meditative type of vibe, something you could just relax and like maybe ease your mind a little bit, but dance to at the same time. And around that time, I was going through a lot of things, so I honestly just needed good energy in my life,
And you manifested it. You put it out there.
Yeah.
Penned it,
Yeah.
and then the world made it their own. I love it. It's such a great story. Now, you've mentioned that Good Energy wasn't an overnight sensation, but like rather this slow climb. Could you elaborate on the challenges you faced along the way and how, of course, you clearly persevered right through them?
I mean, yeah, as an independent artist, it takes a lot more networking and, a lot more legwork and dedication and hustle and grind, versus being signed with a label and you have that muscle and budget behind you. So coming out with Good Energy, it was just another song for me. It was actually a quite different song than my previous music. And I was kind of, didn't know what to expect from like the people's reaction. So when I got, as I saw it, climbing and everything and seeing the numbers go up, it was, it was really surprising to me that the whole world could resonate with that message, because you have a lot of negative things going around right now that a lot of people, kind of pay attention to. So I'm glad I was able to create that, message, and people, responded well to it. And
Lots of people responded
yeah.
well. You have a mix of different age ranges that have all loved and reacted to the song. You have some of the baby boomers dancing to it. You have my 8.5-year-old daughter, right? Gen Alpha, Gen Z, millennials. They're all just really loving the song because I think it sends a message, and everybody wants a dose of good energy, not just a few times a day, but all day, every day. And the music industry is very different today than it was even just a decade ago, right? Like for both independent artists and those signed to a label, the digital world of social media has truly changed the game. Now, music artists can connect directly with their fans the same way that, exactly what you've been doing. And it's also revolutionized the process of music discovery, right? One video can reach millions of people worldwide just by chance if it pops up on someone's TikTok for their page. Now, I know you've conquered the world of social media, and Good Energy is currently viral. In fact, social media has shaped your career. Do you enjoy the ability to connect directly with your fans online? And how does it feel to see your message spreading so widely and impacting people's lives?
Yeah, absolutely. I love, connecting with fans, and the fact that I'm receiving all of the love and support from everybody all around the world, and it feels, it almost doesn't feel real. It was like a year ago or so, I was just like, going through the worst of the worst, starving, working like super hard, and just watching this whole thing come together, and still having to juggle everything. It's really it's an amazing journey and transformation that I'm going through right now, and I'm still working. You see, I'm still out here working and building everything, and yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Well, you're hustling, and it's interesting because you're still very young, and you're just getting started. You're in your 20s, you're in your mid-20s, and that is still fresh in the industry. You can go any which direction because you know what? You've already had a hit song. Now, your recent release, I want to come full circle to your recent release, Do It Better, seems to continue that same theme of positivity. How do you see this new track fitting into your musical journey, especially following the success of Good Energy? You have a lot to live up to.
Yeah, it's I think it fits pretty good, as far as Afro beats. I wanted to, keep it in a similar vibe. Not so much of the same message, you know what I mean? I can only do so much you know, peace, love, and light. I want to switch it up, but keep it good vibes, of course. But just kind of touch every different aspect of like every different, personality type and things like that. What am I trying to say? As like a music songwriter, I
You don't want to pigeonhole yourself, is what you're saying.
I always think of like if I'm performing the song, who am I? What crowd am I in front of? So I like to have something for different crowds, so that way, if I'm doing a set, this crowd might like this song.
You don't want to just give sushi. This. You want tacos. You want Chinese.
Right.
You want to just give the whole
tacos and churros.
thing.
I want the. All of that good stuff.
I like that you have a menu that you want to offer up. Now, your music draws from these diverse audiences like Afrobeats, R&B, soul, reggae. Yes. You feel pretty professional and authentic. Where do you get your musical inspiration from? And can you tell us about your experiences collaborating with Farruko and Mafio on the remix of Good Energy? What was it like working with them in studio?
Working with Farruko, Mafio, that whole collaboration, I feel like was just a perfect timing and a perfect, situation because of the type of artists they are. Being in the studio with them, I got to see kind of their creative, strategies and stuff like that. And it's amazing how we all came together and created the remix. We had like 20 different like choir members come in and harmonize. We had some violin players. It was amazing. That was out in Miami. So, and then we did the music video. If you haven't seen the music video, it's on YouTube. I think it's like 4 million views as of right now. But it's an amazing video. It's like a movie, really, and that's like the biggest video that I've done so far as just the whole production. So I'm extremely grateful for Farruko, Mafio, and the whole Sony Latin team.
I'm glad you found that camp. Yeah. It's extremely important to find the team players. The pieces of the puzzle all have to fit, and it's part of the roadmap. And I think it's all about timing. So it's extremely critical that you align yourself with individuals that have done this before. And remember, your network is your net worth, right? Now, It's one thing to introduce premium coconut water. We're talking about coconut water because this is the Hydration with Heart segment brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut, always right here in studio at iHeart headquarters. Now, premium coconut water that tastes better than anything you've ever tried, this is it. But it's truly something else to give back to the communities and people that truly need it. That's why for every case of Once Upon a Coconut sold, they donate 10% to a charity that they select each month. Now, beyond music, you've been involved in charity work with organizations like Christina's Academy and Be Strong International. What motivates you to give back to the community, and how do you choose the causes you support?
That's a great question. It's really, my vision of where I want to go and the things that I want to do and put into the world, and it only makes sense that I get involved with things like this. I help, be the change I wish to see in the world, like Gandhi, and it's you just go out there and you do it, and you get to just inspire people, and maybe I see myself somewhat like a motivational speaker when I'm writing a song or writing lyrics. It has to have that that message, that purpose behind it. So going out into these communities and my own communities, like we did a lot of things this previous Christmas for the foster kids out in Miami. Some of them, just had nothing, and I didn't really televise it at all. It was just like out of love, just do it, do it better, that's
you got to raise the bar.
Yeah, you gotta
Not just for the world that's watching you and for the kids that are out there looking at you as a musical sensation or a fashion icon, but for yourself, right? To do it for ourselves, paying it forward, random acts of kindness, all of this matters. It's extremely important, and the karmic balance is of the utmost importance, because if there is no karmic balance and you just take,
yeah.
the higher the rise, the greater the fall. You know, it doesn't work out like that. Now, we're going to pivot a little bit, but your fashion sense. Whoa, let's describe your fashion sense. I'm going to describe you as eclectic and expressive, and you know, you're really a risk taker, and you do a great job at selecting the pieces. Where does your fashion inspiration come from, and what brand are you currently wearing?
So my fashion inspiration, I mean, really, I just like things that stand out, but not too flashy, like with logos and brand names. You know what I mean? Like, I could make a statement without. I could have on something from Walmart, but not literally, but like, you know what I mean?
Not literally.
Just so what I have on right now, this outfit was styled by my stylist Jeffrey Empertwam. I think I'm pronouncing the last name right.
We're just gonna go by Jeffrey.
Jeffrey,
Yeah,
yeah,
Jeffrey.
yeah.
Styled by
World famous stylist, one of the best in New York. Y'all check him out. As far as the brand names, I'm not too sure. He put this together, but
Well, I saw you walk
yeah.
the Potro fashion show, and you looked sharp.
Had on it was like a cowboy theme.
I love the
fashion walk.
cowboy thing.
It was
You know,
dope.
Beyonce did it to us. She took it to the next level. Now everyone's all about cowboys and cowgirls. They fit in perfectly. Now, looking ahead to the future, what are your musical aspirations?
Yeah, the big picture is, you know, definitely touring, touching like different countries that I've never been to before, like places that actually, you know, like want to book me and see me perform my music. So just traveling, doing shows, stuff like that. I think that's every artist's dream, you know, like just being on the stage and traveling, touring, and you know, just living that rock star lifestyle, you know.
Yeah, you're
because-
gonna live the rock star. You're already living the rock star lifestyle.
Yeah,
Now-
I'm going to Jamaica soon. I might be living a Rasta lifestyle.
Oh boy, we're gonna lose you to the Rastafarians. Please don't come back to us, please. Which brings me to a career in music involves aligning yourself with the right people, the right brands, the right
Yes.
organizations, staying in check, doing everything you're supposed to do as a good human being. Right now,
Yes.
of course, if ones that reflect your vision. What brands are you currently wishing to collaborate with, and how important is social activism to you?
That is a great question. I currently I'm working close with a brand called Potro. That's who I was out in New York Fashion Week doing the show for.
Big shout out to Joseph Diacetis.
With Potro, amazing brand, and there's a lot of other brands out there that I would like to collaborate with, not just clothing, but you know, like
Coconut water.
coconut water. Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm actually drinking some right now. It's called Once Upon a Coconut. If you haven't heard of it, you gotta check it out. It's amazing. I love coconut water. Me, I honestly prefer just straight up coconut water, but they actually have flavored coconut water, and it's not even like artificial. You know, it's real.
Naturally
Real
infused,
ingredients.
yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Good energy, good organic, natural energy. So definitely gonna be talking with them about some
Yeah,
collaborations.
These coconuts are from Vietnam, baby.
Woo.
Now, what's your go-to drink before you perform?
Well, that's, you know, I have different elixirs that I like to indulge
Oh, I want to
in
hear about
before I
elixirs.
perform. But definitely hydration is key. So coconut water would be a great.
All right,
Great
now you're
thing to
playing
do.
it safe.
What,
All
what
right,
do you mean?
coconut
Hold
water,
on.
coconut water in a dirty glass.
Yeah, I mean, you can mix it up if you want to, but I'm just saying.
Okay,
as
if
far
you
as,
could put any elixir concoction together with your coconut water before you perform, what would it be?
maybe some, you know,
Casa
some
Azul,
kettle.
some Casa Azul.
Yeah,
Ah, there you go.
some some kettle,
Oh no.
vodka.
Oh no, your kettle? I thought it was all about the tequila.
I mean, you could do that too. Do some Terramana. You know, I like Terramana.
Yeah, big shout out to Sovereign Brands, by the way, for supplying the alcohol at our event.
Yes, fueling the fire.
Fueling the fire. Okay. Now, if you could give one piece of advice to aspiring artists out there, what would you say to them?
I would say just, keep creating. I mean, it sounds kind of cliche, but just keep putting your mind together, put things together, and just record it. It's just like doing artwork. You start with a blank sheet of paper, and the longer you look at that blank sheet of paper and you don't put nothing on it, nothing's gonna come out. I mean, you're just gonna have a blank sheet of paper. So never give up, and just keep grinding, keep networking, and keep showing up in the right places.
And express
surround
gratitude,
yourself with
right?
good energy. Yeah.
Tell them, express gratitude. How important is expressing gratitude?
Every day you wake up, think of what a pleasure it is and an honor and a privilege it is to breathe, love, and enjoy life, and see another day,
That's right. Well,
gratitude.
Gratitude. We are at the end of our date, my dear friend. Thank you so much for coming on. I really had a great time chatting with you today, and I'm right there. Coconut water right before I come on. Absolutely my go-to drink. I drink it because it's truly proprietary. It has potassium, calcium, magnesium. It plays such important roles in helping maintain my heart and my liver and my kidney, as it does yours.
Yes.
But it's more about, really drinking it to keep the hydration going, because water isn't enough these days. We expend so much out when we're just out there during the day, that replacing these electrolytes, we don't even realize how critical and important they are, but they balance out our moods if they are kept in check. If not, things go bad. So I echo your sentiment all about the coconut water.
Yes, and thank you for having me on this interview. Much love to 710 WOR, the voice of New York. And
a big shout out to Amanda Clark. Thank you so much for putting all
Momager.
this together, Momager.
Mom did.
All right, that's the end, my dear. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
That was our Hydration with Heart segment, brought to you by Once Upon a Coconut. Definitely check them out on the gram at Once Upon a Coconut, or you can head directly to onceuponacoconut.com, and definitely check out Yung Wylin on the gram at Yung Wylin Free. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by The Wellness Way, your trusted partner in health restoration. Now you can feel amazing at any age with their foundational testing and mind-body approach. The Wellness Way offers in-clinic and telehealth support when you're ready to test, not guess, what your body needs. Discover your best health by visiting their website, thewellnessway.com, and selecting a clinic near you. Do health differently at thewellnessway.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in the Discover Your Potential segment, brought to you by The Wellness Way, today we're joined by contributor, podcaster, and co-host Anna Devere. She's joined by her dear friend, Michelle Lucas. Now, as a proud Space Camp alumni, Michelle is a former flight controller for the International Space Station and an astronaut technical instructor. Additionally, Michelle and a business partner run Unify Space Agency, which is a talent management company for retired astronauts. She's also the founder and CEO of Higher Orbits. With a new focus on inspiring the next generation, she founded Higher Orbit, which is a nonprofit that uses space to excite students about STEM. She runs programs all over the world, encouraging them to find and pursue their passion. Impressively, she's an A1 AA Associate Fellow, a member of the Space Camp Hall of Fame, and the recipient of the first ever Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University Alumni Entrepreneur Award. She's going to join me today with Anna to chat about encouraging and uplifting students in STEM, failing forward, and how space really does inspire. Welcoming now to the show are my dear friends, Anna and Michelle. Welcome to the show, superstars.
Hi, so grateful for the opportunity to be here. I am so excited to talk to my friend and bring her on to iHeart. It's wonderful to have you here, Michelle.
Let's dive right in. Michelle, it's amazing to see the trajectory of your career, and so fitting that we have this conversation so close to May 5th, which is National Astronaut Day. Now, your journey has been nothing short of incredible. You studied aerospace engineering, communications, and space studies at Purdue University and Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. And upon graduating, you spent 11 years working at NASA's Johnson Space Center, where you were part of the payload safety review panel. To my understanding, after this, you worked mission control for the International Space Station as a flight controller, and then went on to be a technical instructor for astronauts as well as instructors and flight controllers all over the world. You have one impressive career. Now, what was it that inspired you to pursue a career in space at such a young age?
Well, if I'm honest, Anne, I have been a space dork my whole life. I had the great fortune of watching the first space shuttle launch on television as a little girl from the south side of Chicago, where people weren't talking about science and space, and STEM wasn't even a term back then, right? It was just math and science. My grandmother had me watch the first space shuttle launch, and I was in love. And from that moment on, all I wanted to do was work in the space industry. Nobody could really understand how to help me find that path. Most people in my area weren't going on to any post-high school education, nevertheless talking about working at NASA. But it was really lucky that my mom was incredibly supportive, and through a variety of things, including a scholarship to go to space camp, I stayed in love with space. And so went to university, studied what I thought were all the right things, and ended up being all the right things to go into a career at NASA's Johnson Space Center, and then the follow-on things that I'm doing now.
You are a trailblazer, my dear. I am so proud of you. The path you've paved is so inspirational, and I know you focus on exciting young students about STEM. And while we've come a long way, according to a report by the World Bank, women make up less than a third of the world's workforce in technology-related fields, with women making up just 35% of employees in STEM in the US. So I know, especially for young girls interested in a career like yours and achieving your level of success, you are quite the role model.
Well, I feel fortunate to get the opportunity to work with these stellar students across the country, because it is one of those things that in space, we've actually done a little better than the average with regards to women in STEM, but there's room for everyone in STEM. And I want students to know there is a place in space for them, no matter who they are.
There's a place in space for them. I love that. You should coin it. Now, Anna, you met Michelle when she gave her TEDx Fargo talk back in 2018. Failure must be an option. Now, the phrase failure is not an option is associated with NASA flight director Gene Kranz as an outcome of the Apollo 13 moon landing mission. And today, this phrase has been taken to new and, quite frankly, toxic levels. In this talk, Michelle speaks to the fact that while failure is never the desired outcome, it must be an option. Anna, what inspired you about Michelle's message?
Well, I love that you obviously watched the talk, and you know, to hear Michelle tell it firsthand is something. Go chase that one down. But I would just like to say that Michelle's whole life is an example of how to pivot. I'm not going to say fail, because I don't see it that way, and I know she doesn't see it that way. But from her earliest memory, she wanted to be an astronaut, and her mom and several educators did everything they could to promote that dream. What you don't know about Michelle is at age 23, maybe 24, you can correct that, she found out she had kidney stones, and not just one. She had a condition that would disqualify her for becoming an astronaut. And what could have been a devastating moment in her life propelled her to go on to have an illustrious career that most people would envy. That, to me, is the epitome of the right stuff.
You hit it right on. It is the epitome of the right stuff. Now, continuing on with this concept of failing forward, fear of failure is something many people struggle with. In fact, according to Linkagold's Fear Factor Index in partnership with YouGov, 1 in 3 Americans were found to be scared of failure, and almost half of the surveyed adults responded that their fear of failure was the biggest barrier to not achieving their goals. So overcoming this fear is absolutely crucial. Michelle, how significant do you find this topic of failing forward to be in today's risk-averse world?
So I think it's incredibly important. And when we talk about space flight, everybody knows space flight is risky, right? It is rocket science. Space is hard. And obviously, when we fail in space flight, it's oftentimes spectacular. Rockets blow up, and that's never a desired outcome. But in the iteration of entrepreneurship, of design, of research that has to happen, we accept it in certain areas. And the space industry is one of those places we've had to accept it. You can't build a great new moon colony or a new moon colony at all, or a rocket without that. But we don't instill that in our students. We make it so everybody gets a participation trophy, or, oh my gosh, you got a B. That's terrible. Students have to learn how to fail, because they have to learn how to pick themselves up when that happens. And that is one of my concerns, is that I see a lot of snowplows in front of kids, making sure that they can do all the things they want to do without many barriers. And we all know that that's not realistic in the real world. So I'm a big believer in create situations that students can expand their envelope, broaden their horizons, perhaps not succeed in the way that they thought. So they figure out how to take those opportunities to learn and grow from that. And so I think that is actually one of our biggest challenges with our future STEMist explorers, workforce in general, is helping them understand it's okay for it not to go the way you expected, and reframing what failure means. Because just because it didn't go how you wanted doesn't mean you failed. If you learned from it, you didn't really fail. And I know that sounds a little Pollyanna, but that's real life.
It is. It's very much real life. I couldn't agree more. Now, Anna, you get to be in Michelle's orbit. What do you find compelling about her work?
Zen, can I just tell you, I love that you do space puns. You and I are kindred spirits. Thank you.
Right. Being in Michelle's orbit is extraordinary. Really, very few people get to take an actual peek into that privileged world. And I think it's just her touchstone with astronauts with true stories that make those stories even more compelling. So I wish that all film directors, TV producers would hire Michelle just to get those things right. That's the funnest part about being in her orbit, is just to call her up and say, what'd you think of this movie? Nah, completely false. That's kind of the fun, but obviously she has, a foundational belief in education, and it's the real stories that make the difference.
Incredible. Now, shifting gears, Michelle, let's talk about your nonprofit, Higher Orbits. So your mission is to use the exciting world of space flight to promote science, technology, engineering, and math, what we call STEM, along with leadership, teamwork, and communication to students of all ages. Now, I would love it if you could please tell us more about Higher Orbits and the space-inspired camp Go for Launch that you run.
Yeah, so I was fortunate as a kiddo that I applied for a scholarship to Space Camp through a very interesting happenstance of ways, and got to attend Space Camp in Huntsville, Alabama. And it changed my life. It was the first time I was surrounded by people who were like-minded, who love space. I call it finding my tribe. And it kept me on my path at a time that was very difficult. In middle school, I was incredibly bullied, and I didn't think there were other people out there like me. And so I went to this camp and I found that. I wanted to be able to bring a space-inspired STEM event to the backyards of students across the country. And so I created Higher Orbits and the Go for Launch program, where students get to work with an astronaut for the whole event. And that is unique. And when Anna mentioned the storytelling, I'm a believer in stories. I think the power is in the journey. And so while it's awesome to hear about an astronaut and their flight in space and piloting the spacecraft or doing a spacewalk, what is just as powerful is how did they get there? What is their story? Because it didn't just magically happen overnight, and they don't all come from privilege. Actually, most don't. And so hearing that story and sharing that with students is really powerful. So we run this event all across the country. We've done it 75 plus times in 19 different states. And the students work for a couple of days on a variety of team building challenges. We're never solving the rocket equation on purpose, but we're using space as an inspirational platform. I say all the time, there are two things that inspire all kids, or excite all kids, I should say: space and dinosaurs. I know not much about dinosaurs, a bunch about space, so we use that as our platform. Ultimately, the teams of students, they get broken into teams once they get there. They design an experiment that fits inside a cube that's about the size of a rectangular Kleenex box that could fly to space. And we've already sent 20 student experiments to 19 to the International Space Station and one on a suborbital rocket. Are they all going to be rocket scientists? No. Do I even want them all to be rocket scientists? If that's what they want, yes. But what I really want them to do is realize that by keeping STEM as part of their pathway, they leave a lot of doors open. And I also want to empower them that they can do whatever it is that they are willing to work hard for, and also work on their communication, teamwork, and leadership skills, because that is an integral part of no matter what job you go into.
Wow. I mean, you have a great roadmap, and this is why your program is so successful. I, as a parent, would love my daughter to participate in this. And I think that you are inspiring an entire generation, and it's so much. It's so, there's a gap that you're filling. It's very, very much needed, especially in this day and age.
Well, as you mentioned, a gap, there's something called the confidence gap that is a chasm between what you actually are capable of and what you think you can do. And the earlier we can start to try and fill that for students, the more we empower them to go do amazing things. And, I'll hear people say, oh my gosh, we're in trouble with the next generation, whatnot. And I'm here to tell you that based on a lot of the students I work with, we're not in trouble. There are some brilliant, amazing young people out there. We just have to help them understand their superpowers, if you will. Like what is their passion? What are their talents? And help them and mentor them to find their way.
I love everything you're saying. Now, Anna, I know you've attended one of Michelle's camps, Go for Launch. What was it like? I'd love to hear about your experience.
So she's right when she says that our future is more, we have more reason to hope than you would think. It's like watching what the kids come up with for these science projects are kind of mind-blowing. But I would like to dovetail and talk about the storytelling aspect of hearing from astronauts. I mean, imagine if you learned World War II history from actual combat veterans. Listening to stories like astronaut Wendy Lawrence, my mind just spun around, this is in the real now for me. It's not CGI created. It's the storytelling that makes this program unique and more compelling than anything else I've ever seen as an education tool. My kid's too young, but she participated in the science fair in 3rd grade after meeting Michelle and actually took the whole thing in her school. And I know it's because there's a role model like sitting right in front of her. There's nothing more compelling than that, taking it into the realm of the possible.
And she's doing exactly that. Now, Michelle, I really admire how you've used your career success to build programs that are inspiring and involving students in STEM. You're building quite the legacy, but I know this doesn't come without lots and lots of work and effort. Now, I understand that you travel a significant amount as part of your work. What keeps you going, and what are you inspired by today?
Space. It's not by happenstance that our tagline is Space Inspires. I love space, and I love what it has become. When I started in space a quarter of a century ago, there was only like one game in town. It was NASA and some major contractors. And now we have all these different companies who are participating, launching humans to space, talking about space stations that are commercial. That inspires me. And it inspires me for the possibilities that exist, because me and some of my friends joke we were either born a little too late because we missed the big heyday of the first moon landing in 1969, or a little too early because of all the burgeoning space economy that is happening. We're kind of in the middle of it, but like in this weird space. No pun intended. But the space inspires me, and the students do. I mean, it is one of those things that if you had told me this would be my roadmap, I would have told you you're crazy. I never had any intention to go start my own companies. I struggled with the term entrepreneur when one of my friends, who is one of the greatest space entrepreneurs ever, was like, "You're an entrepreneur." And I'm like, "No, I'm not. I just started this little nonprofit. This is not that big of a deal." It is exhausting sometimes, but I love it. And I couldn't do what I do if I didn't love it. And so I will do whatever it takes to help make sure students understand the opportunities that exist for them, particularly in space, because it is something that I love so much. And I love to be able to share my love of space with others.
Very well said. Now, this is a yes or no question, okay? Are we alone?
No.
I love it. Now, lastly, before we wrap up, and that's another interview, Anna, any discover your potential takeaways?
Yeah, I love that you picked up on all things that Michelle is great at, and that is a great topic for another day. We've actually had that conversation a few times. What I would like to say, though, is that Michelle, while she's a very humble person, she has all kinds of opportunity today. There are many people that could be launched into space. It's not as simple as buying a ticket aboard, Virgin Galactic, although you certainly can. But I know this: Michelle will always put Go for Launch first because it's more important to her to move the needle, and that means developing curiosity in our kids. And so, for that reason, she will always be most compelled by helping the next generation of STEM explorers to discover their potential.
Michelle, thank you so much for joining us today. Anna, I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you for bringing on such a trailblazer to our segment today.
Thank you both. Great conversation. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was Discover Your Potential, brought to you by The Wellness Way, and that was the incredible Michelle Lucas. Definitely head to higherorbits.org, or you could check them out on the gram at Higher Orbits. And to learn more about her nonprofit and programs, be sure to check her out on the gram at Space Shell, CHELLE. And of course, see more of Anna by heading to discoveryourpotentialshow.com. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
Make it happen with Mariah Calor, where entrepreneurship meets heart and home. Join her on a journey through the dynamic world of real estate as a wife and mom of two boys who's conquering it all. Witness the passion, hustle, and joy as she navigates the exciting intersection of business and family. Check out Make It Happen with Mariah Calor on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance. For more information or to order CO2 Lift, go to CO2Lift.com.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Up next in our Going Deep segment, we're going to be featuring Dr. Johnny Franco. He's founder of Austin Plastic Surgeon. He's also clinical faculty at the University of Texas Dell Medical School. He's president of the Austin Society of Plastic and Reconstructive Surgeons, and his expertise has earned recognition in various media outlets. He shares his knowledge through his popular podcast, Plastic Surgery Untold. Moreover, Dr. Franco's commitment to advancing medical knowledge is evident through his role as a national trainer for industry leaders and advisory board memberships with organizations like Real Self, Yes Doctor, Bioaesthetics, and Apex Medical. He joins me today to chat about liposuction safety, the risks and rewards involved, as well as the benefits of carbon dioxide therapy pre and post procedure. Joining me now and welcoming us to the show is Dr. Johnny Franco. Welcome to the show, superstar.
No, thanks for having me. This is great. Super exciting. As you probably know, liposuction has actually been the #1 procedure in plastic surgery the last 2 years. So I think this is a perfect topic.
Oh, you are so popular right now because, to your point, yes, in recent statistics, liposuction overtook breast augmentation as most popular cosmetic surgery. Now, the contouring procedure, which uses suction to remove excess fat, accounted for about 15% of cosmetic surgeries performed worldwide, and changing trends are part of a global surge in aesthetic medicine, which saw over 30 million surgical and non-surgical procedures carried out in the year 2022, which was a jump of 20% from the previous year. Now, who would have thought that lipo would end up being so popular? Could you please start by sharing with our audience your journey into the world of high-def liposculpture and advanced body contouring, and more importantly, what inspired this career path?
Yeah, I think it's been a little bit of a transition stuff. I'll tell you, I ended up doing a aesthetic fellowship in Miami, so I think you can't really do aesthetic fellowship in Miami and not be into body contouring and liposuction and sculpting. Trying to make Austin the new plastic surgery capital of the world from Miami. But I think that was a big part of it. I actually grew up in a little pecan orchard, so I was used to doing something physical, being a part of something, and then between science, doing something physical. Plastic surgery was just such a unique art. And I think with liposuction, more than anything else, and that's where the liposuction term has gone away. And now we talk more about liposculpting and high definition, because it's truly become an art and science meld together to really kind of sculpt people, but really identify their own kind of unique body frame. And we'll get into some of the unique technology that has really kind of made this, I think, super exciting again. And I think there's kind of two pivot points. One, I think over the pandemic stuff, a lot of people got into the dad bod phase and just kind of sweatpants, and most of us weren't wearing suits or dress clothes anymore, and maybe life got away from us just a little bit. And I think as people kind of got back into healthy lifestyles, no question, turned to liposuction as part of that. Definitely, there's been some education on our side that liposuction is not a weight loss procedure, but definitely some exciting opportunities for patients.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I'm going to assume that the best candidates, because there have to be candidates for liposuction, right?
Mhm.
Are patients who already concentrate on a healthy diet and exercise as part of their daily regimen. And when you talk about lipo or liposculpture, the procedure does not cure, to your point, or combat all aspects of obesity or get rid of cellulite, right? So
Mm-mm.
while women tend to gain fat in their stomach, hips, and thighs, men suffer from gaining in their midsections and chest areas. Both men
Mhm.
and women, without a doubt, are benefits are can benefit from liposuction treatments, and it's been around for many years. But your work has advanced the field significantly. So, what are the primary differences between the traditional liposuction as we know it and the high def liposculpture of today's technique?
I think to a couple of your points, no question that patients need to be as close to their ideal weight before getting any type of liposuction, because it's not going to help you lose weight. I think if you get liposuction with the goal of changing your overall weight, or kind of a replacement for healthy lifestyles, treatment for obesity, you're going to be hugely disappointed. You're going to spend a lot of money and not have the results that you want. And often people can sometimes look worse in terms of things. So I think that's number one, being in a great spot. I always tell people the better shape you go into surgery, the better you're going to come out. So if you keep that in mind, I think that's super, super helpful. I think you bring up a great point about cellulite. Cellulite is something that bothers a lot of people, but liposuction is not a cure for that. It's also not a cure for skin laxity, which we're seeing more and more, because of some of the medications out there in America right now as well. And we can get into some of those technologies, but some of the traditional liposuction techniques were just a manual technique of these kind of cannulas and just sucking fat. And I think in the past, we just had this mindset of we're just going to suck out as much fat as we can, and hopefully you look great, but there was no kind of artistry to it. And now we really have taken much more of an approach of what's your body frame, what's your goals, what are you trying to do in terms of that. So we can use the ultrasound, we can use some of these special energy devices to really kind of sculpt people, and more of it's, hey, what are you looking for? And there's more of a purposeful meaning to taking out fat rather than just trying to take out as much fat as possible. And I think it's been an overall kind of pivot of mindset when we're doing liposuction that has changed for plastic surgeons and patients.
So I'm going to stick on this point. So liposuction won't treat cellulite, right? Cellulite is a complex problem, and pockets of fat are only one contributing factor. Liposuction cannot alter the fibrous connective bands that, along with the fat, cause the dimples and bumps associated with cellulite. And it's important to note that liposuction can actually worsen the appearance of loose, saggy skin. So for the best results, the skin in the treatment area should be firm, smooth, and relatively elastic. And using liposuction to remove fat from an area of the body with loose or saggy skin can leave the skin looking even more wrinkly. So, what is the next recommended step?
100%. So cellulite is truly like fabric brands that are pulling this down. If you think that you're just going to suck fat around it and make that look better, you're going to have cellulite with loose skin. So that not the answer for sure. I think 100%. The idea with liposuction is that you're reducing the fat in a very strategic way, but that skin is recoiling and reshape. And I always tell people your skin is like, your tablecloth or anything that's redraping. You want that surface to be nice and smooth. You want to show off the underlying surface. But if you already have a lot of excess skin and you do liposuction, you're only going to have more excess skin. I do think for some people that just have a slight amount of excess skin, there are some new technologies out there to help with skin tightening, but definitely somewhere over the next couple of years that I think there's going to continue to be advancements. I think in the world of liposuction, there's also some things to help people heal a lot faster in terms of this. And you mentioned at the beginning of the show, but the carboxy gel CO2 lift is something that we've definitely incorporated because for most patients, they're attracted to liposuction because for the most part, you can have a very quick recovery. Most people can have a couple of days of downtime, be back to it, especially now that we're getting into the summertime. People want to be, in their beach body ready as quickly as possible. And we've started to incorporate the carboxy gel with all of our high definition lipos because what we've seen is when you're actually getting really aggressive and trying to sculpt the body, you put a lot of stress on that skin. And the carboxy gel, if people aren't familiar with it, it's really actually super interesting. It actually tricks the skin into thinking that it's starving for oxygen just for a brief second, which then makes all those capillaries and other blood cells open up. And we know that blood flow to the skin is what helps with wound healing, helps decrease scars, helps with the skin to retract faster. And so, it's just one little thing to get people that best result possible as quickly as possible.
I love that you just segued to this because I'm totally a huge fan of carboxytherapy gel. In fact, to your point, it increases the presence of wound repair factors and growth
Mhm.
factors, which help cells turnover, quote unquote, faster, reducing the appearance of aging scars and stretch marks. It stimulates collagen, of course, and elastin production, which promotes elasticity and helps retain hydration. It improves local metabolism and elimination of waste products, which helps the body heal localized damage
Mhm.
such as scars. So that's also
Mhm.
important. But now, in parallel, both CO2 lift, and this is interesting, and hyperbaric oxygen therapy utilize oxygen in their respective processes.
Mhm.
So in CO2 lift, carbon dioxide is applied to the skin, and the skin is expected to absorb this CO2 and in the process release oxygen, improving skin health, right? In a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, pure oxygen is administered at an increased atmospheric
Mhm.
pressure, and this higher pressure allows the body to absorb more oxygen into the bloodstream, which can be beneficial for various medical conditions. And the common thread between the two is the focus on oxygenation of tissues,
Mhm.
albeit through different methods. So, comparing CO2 lift to a hyperbaric oxygen chamber suggests that there may be some similarities in how both treatments incorporate the use of oxygen. So, the CO2 lift product has been, in fact, compared by not only you and your peers, Dr. Hoyos, as well, to a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. But I would love to know, can you speak to this in your own experience with patient outcome?
Oh, 100%. I mean, and the other benefit is that you don't need a huge hyperbaric oxygen chamber, And so the
Yeah.
idea behind this, because I mean, for most people, that's not realistic. In most offices, bet in New York where space is a premium, it's hard to have a chamber for this. That what's really been the innovation of this is that you can actually put this topical carboxy gel over like a fresh liposuction. We'll do it for several days afterwards. The amount of bruising, the amount of little wound healing issue stuff has gone dramatically down for our patients. It's so funny because people see so many benefits that a lot of patients will continue it afterwards because they're like, you know what, I've put on other areas of my body because we do it a lot for the body, the tummy, the other areas for lipo. And they're like, I'll do it on my face, I'll do it on my neck because my skin looks so much better even after liposuction with doing this that they want to do in other places. So our experience has been absolutely phenomenal. And I'll tell you, like most people, I was skeptic when I first heard this because it's like, how could this topical gel be so impactful? And my practice has changed over the last 6 to 9 months because of it. Just seeing all of our patients every day.
This warms my heart. I knew that I was onto something when I stumbled onto CO2 Lift products
Mhm.
and their incredible founder, Lana Kerr, who is salt of the earth person, and that's extremely important for any company. But the but I have seen these incredible results myself on my breast scars from my explant procedure with Dr. Rankin, and it's phenomenal. I mean, the scars are minimal. Now, many people are interested and I'm going to segue back to liposuction or
Mhm.
liposculpture for lack of better terms, but they're interested in liposculpture for cosmetic purposes. So, who are your typical candidates for this procedure, and what kind of results can they expect?
Yeah, I one of the things that you pointed out earlier is that we've actually seen many more men coming into the office than we used to. So no question, it used to be predominantly just women, but men I think have become much more aware of their bodies as well, and so we've definitely have seen that. But usually it's patients that are a little bit younger, and younger changes as I've continued to age a little bit, and so definitely 20s, 30s, 40s. I think it's always super important to, as we talked about earlier, being a good goal weight, people with good skin quality. And then I think the areas that you're getting liposuction, you got to be a little bit careful. And you alluded to this a little bit earlier. Tummy, love handles, back do extremely well. When you get into areas like the legs, the butt, the inner thighs, areas that have really, really thin skin, now you need to be a little bit cautious. You need to really talk to your plastic surgeon, like, hey, is this really going to be a benefit? What are my chances of having some bad outcomes? Because there are different attachments to the skin, depends on the skin quality. And, you can turn something that you think is relatively simple into a challenging problem.
You are so transparent, and I love that you weigh all the options. I can't stress enough and how important it is for women and men to go into a consultation with full transparency. What are the risks? What is this going to, where am I going to be after this procedure? What will I have to do? How much more money will I have to spend? What is the worst case scenario? This is so important to address. And the fact that you're so willing and open to have a lengthy conversation during your consultation and give your patients the full disclosure, albeit anything from liposculpture, liposuction to, breast lifts and
Mhm.
augmentation and explants. I think that is at the heart of it all. And you are popular for a reason because
Mhm.
before being a plastic surgeon, you're a human being. And I think that should be everybody's goal.
Appreciate it. No, I think the goal is for us to I always tell people any plastic surgery procedure is a journey, and so you really want to make sure that you partner with someone that's going to go through that journey with you, because there's probably going to be some little ups and downs, and so you want to be able to go through it together.
Yeah, you want to find a friend. Okay, now we have 1 minute left, and you seem to stay at the forefront of medical innovation. And I know that you regularly continue to refine your techniques. Are there any new advancements in liposculpture or body contouring that you find particularly exciting?
I think that the biggest thing you're going to see us doing a lot more is the use of the ultrasound. Using the ultrasound now, we can actually look at your muscles, look at your body anatomy, and be able to really lipo around it. So it's almost like lipoing by numbers, because you can follow your natural like muscle anatomy throughout this. Even with people going more away from implants and other things, we've seen a lot more fat transfer. So you're definitely going to see more of an evolution as we're able to process that fat, as we're able to harvest more and do some things with that in the regenerative medicine standpoint. So I think those things over the next year and a half, 2 years are going to be super, super exciting for people.
You are on your A game, my dear. Thank you so much for joining us today. You are very, very inspiring, very informative, and thank you so much for being an expert in your field.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Now, guys, listen, not vetting your doctor can have serious consequences, and I mean serious. Speaking of your liposuction surgeon, the body contouring procedure should only be performed by a qualified board certified plastic surgeon, and of course, undoubtedly with liposculpture experience. Liposuction is a thing of the past. You definitely want to check out Dr. Franco. Selecting an inexperienced or amateur provider will definitely jeopardize your results and your health. That was our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift. Do check out the good doctor at austinplasticsurgeon.com. Not surgeons with an S, austinplasticsurgeon.com. You can also check them out on the gram all over Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Snapchat at Austin Surgeon and Austin Plastic Surgeon. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. That was our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
Omega Ball on Your Home TV. Experience the thrill of Omega Ball, the collision of chaos and innovation in soccer. 3 teams, 3 goals, and non-stop action. Embrace the revolution. Watch Omega Ball on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to live on a boat? Climb aboard and share in the amazing yard-to-yacht adventure on yourhometv.com and explore the warm tropical islands, meet the people, and sample the culture of the beautiful places. Check out Yard to Yacht on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York. A Moment of Zen is sponsored by FinTech TV.
FinTech TV, the newest streaming channel focused exclusively on the business of blockchain, digital assets, and sustainability. Broadcasting from our studio on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange with daily reports from NASDAQ, global expansion, and 24/7 coverage. Become part of the launch. Head to fintech.tv/invest. Fintech.tv/invest.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. In the FinTech segment brought to you by FinTech TV, His Excellency Dennis Francis, the President of the United Nations 78th General Assembly, joins Vince Molinari to discuss the first ever Sustainability Week.
I want to talk about the first ever United Nations General Assembly Sustainability Week. Maybe you can share a little bit about it.
Sustainability Week is the consolidation of 5 mandates that the General Assembly has to engage in discussions on a number of sectors: tourism, transportation, infrastructure, energy, and of course debt sustainability. So we decided to consolidate them all into one compact week of high-level engagement to discuss issues related to how to turbocharge the Sustainable Development Goals using these particular sectors with a view to enhancing sustainability all around the world.
Well, amen to that. I couldn't agree with it more. And when we begin to talk about the Sustainable Development Goals, achieving the goals of 2030, engaging private sector to help in that initiative, I love the theme, choose sustainability, to start off and wrap it all together. Talk to me about why you chose that and why that's such an important wrapper.
It's crucial, really, because the fact of the matter is that we need to rethink how we produce and consume resources on the planet. We know from the evidence, the scientific evidence, that the planet is in peril. Climate change, loss of biodiversity, sea level rise, all of these things are impacting our daily lives. Forest fires, raging forest fires, droughts, famine, etc. The southwest of the United States, for example, as you know, the water supply there is not what it used to be. And so the issue is, how can we use resources, the natural assets that the planet has gifted us, how can we use them more sensibly, more consistent with the limits of the environment, in order to ensure, number one, the longevity of our civilization on the planet, and number two, that future generations will be able to have these resources as part of their assets so that they can use them and enjoy them as well.
Incumbent on all of us is our personal responsibility and the thoughtfulness of one day of public transport. I've heard you talking about shutting the water when you're brushing your teeth.
That's
right?
correct.
These daily
Little
activities,
things.
right? And the aggregate become very meaningful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you said that because for this to work well, we need all hands on board. At the individual level, the household level, the community level, the local government level, the state level, the national level, and at the global level. You know, the Sustainable Development Goals are all about lifting people up, giving them hope for a brighter future based on fairness, based on justice, based on respect for human rights and human dignity, because these are the things that unify us and give our lives quality. And so, you know, the link between civilization and the planet has to be holistic and smart. So we are not at all promoting the abandonment of things we do in our daily lives. Yeah, but in our lifestyles, we make decisions, we make choices every day, sometimes without thinking about it. Spare a thought. The next time you decide, I'm going to go to the gym, and the gym is maybe 10 minutes away with a brisk walk, but you drive there. Think about the effect. Unless you're driving an electric vehicle or a hybrid, think about the effect on the environment and the future of introducing additional carbon into the atmosphere, because we are paying the price already. Climate change is not about the future, it's happening now.
You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeart Radio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by Your Home TV with Kathy Ireland and their channel partners. Head to yourhometv.com for free, family-friendly programming, streaming 24/7.
The Kelly Williams Show is brought to you by Serendipity Yacht Cruises and Events. Tune in and turn on your happy. Kelly Williams is full of energy and incredible guests. Watch her anytime, free programming on Your Home TV network, and do follow her on social media for a chance to win monthly prizes. Check out The Kelly Williams Show on yourhometv.com.
Tune in to A Moment of Zen, Saturday nights from 9 to 10 p.m. on 710 WOR, the voice of New York.
Well, that's a wrap, my dear friends. Remember to join me right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, every Saturday night from 9 to 10 p.m. Or you could head to 710WOR.iHeart.com/A Moment of Zen. Also remember that we're live on Traverse TV Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, YouTube Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And of course, all episodes of A Moment of Zen are available on Your Home TV and Kathy Ireland Worldwide streaming platform. You could head directly to our channel at mox.yourhometv.com. Thank you for listening to us. It's been an absolute pleasure being your host. Thanks again to all of our sponsors that continue to make the show possible. And remember that happiness is the only thing that multiplies when you share it. We'll see you next week.